welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise. Al-Azhar is the oldest and the biggest institution of the higher learning in the Islamic world, with over 500,000 students and 15,000 staff. Of course, we do know that Al-Azhar Institute also expressed the full support for the comprehensive operation Sinai 2018, announced by the Armed Forces and the Ministry of Interior to purge the country of terrorism. I'm honored today to be having with me Mr. Saeed Kishk al-Azhary, the member of the Higher Council of Al-Azhar. Mr. Saeed, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Saeed, throughout history, Al-Azhar has gained the respect of the Muslims and the non-Muslims. What are the reasons behind this?
Well, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the gracious, praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and may Allah peace and the blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad, his companions, his messengers, and all past prophets, and Moses, Jesus, and Abraham. We make no difference. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in knowledge and never make us among those who their effort or whose efforts have been wasted in this life, and yet they consider their work to be good. الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who strive for the sake of Allah, and accordingly He is gonna to guide us to the right path. الذين جاهدوا في والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا. Your questions, first of all, thank you for having me and welcome at Azhar. Your question is really a very great question. It's asking about the stance and the position of Azhar inside of Egyptian society, regardless they are Muslims or Christianity, and why they are respected Azhar. Of course, Azhar is more than a mosque, or is more than academic university which held more than half students, as you said, or international students or national students. Al-Azhar has been established by Jawhar Sakalli when he was charged to build Al-Qahira, or the Cairo, or to build a new capital for Al-Mu'izz. He built Cairo, and that's why it's named after Qahiratul Mu'izz up to now, which is a Cairo of Al-Mu'izz. After he building the Cairo in 1972, he built a huge mosque and named it Al-Azhar, which is in the honor of Az-Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet, or Fatima Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Since that time, and since establishing of Al-Azhar, it has been forward a moderate approach, and to make to safeguard the Egyptian society, whether Muslims or Christians, from the extremists, and to save the social stability among our society in Egyptian society. If your question is why Christians particularly respect Azhar, you know, Azhar is the highest authority of Islam all over the world, so they respect, or the Christian respects Azhar because of its stance for the history. Or we recently, for example, the Grand Imam Shaykh al-Azhar, His Eminence Professor Dr. Ahmed Taib, was a Pope, what's called Baytul Aila, or the Egypt family house, to just put an end to sectarian disputes and to just close the link between Christians and Muslims in among society. So generally, Azhar always, since has been established, work. In my point of view, Al-Azhar is one of influential, or considered as influential tool to safeguard the true religion, and to safeguard the social stability, to represent, of course, the true image of Islam. And throughout the whole history, Al-Azhar has a firm stance. That's why, or accordingly, consequently, Christians and Muslims, internationally or nationally, they are respecting Al-Azhar mosque or Al-Azhar University.
Yes, on the local level, what about the patriotic stances of Al-Azhar throughout the Egyptian history?
Well, it's very good questions. The historical stances, or as I just said, Al-Azhar has a firm and decisive stance throughout the history. If we just talk about in 1930s, during the ex-president, or the former Grand Imam of Shaykh al-Azhar, Shaykh al-Maraghi, when during the project of dividing Palestine, into Jews and Arab. Al-Maraghi, which is a grand imam of Al-Azhar, along with Al-Azhar and Al-Azhar student, they rose up and protested and totally rejected such a decision, which is dividing Palestine into the Arab and Jews. And they called for a meeting and called for a Muslim leader all over the world in 1939 under the supervisions of the Council of Senior Scholars, headed by the Grand Imam, the former Grand Imam Al-Maraghi, asked the Muslim religious leaders all over the world to take real actions against that. History tells, history repeats itself. What's happening nowadays, our Grand Imam, the Grand Imam, His Eminence Professor Dr. Ahmed al-Tayyib, rejected totally to meet the Vice President of Trump when he, after the unfair decision of Trump to Jerusalem to be, or to move the UCMC into Jerusalem. So, generally speaking, through history, Al-Azhar has a very firm and decisive stances, whether internationally or nationally. For nationally, of course, or on the national level, Al-Azhar always supporting the army or supporting the government or supporting, because it's very respected or has been respected by the whole Egyptian society to fight with a tourism or tourist group or to present or to establish the society or to protect the whole citizenship or to protect Egyptian society from what so-called tourist groups or from such groups that they are trying to recruit the young people into their battlefield. They are trying to misinterpret the Quran and misinterpret the context or misinterpret the text of the Quran or whatever the holy boxes to just find the killing of innocent people while they are worshipping God. People who are killing the worshippers while they are praying, whether in a mosque or in a church. Al-Azhar always condemn. Al-Azhar tried to issue a fatwa telling people what does Islam say about that, about killing innocent people is prohibited in all religions, whether in Islam or Christianity. So Al-Azhar always plays a vital and integral role in order to establish the social stability inside Egypt and outside Egypt through history, was for supporting Jerusalem. We're going to say about 2 months ago, the international conference that the Grand Imam has been called for advocating and supporting Jerusalem. That's why we always say that Al-Azhar through history, over 1,000 of years ago, still have a stance, and a decisive, firm stances nationally and internationally.
Sir, new waves of renovation is taking place now, not only in the Al-Azhar buildings, but also in its discourse and in its stances. How do you see that?
Well, if you take about renovation and you take it about restoration or take about literally, Al-Azhar has been started, through history, Al-Azhar has been developed as a building. It started as a mosque and then has been affiliated with madrasa or schools during Mamalik, during Salahuddin, until there is a university which we said that comprises of 83 faculties and colleges, which teaches all fields of sciences nowadays, and contains about 40,000 overseas international students from all over the world. They are teaching them the accurate and the true moderate Islam. At the same time, they are teaching them science, all science, which is medicines and pharmacies. And so it has been developing through history, whether it's a building. But recently, which is about 2015, and the initiative which has been launched by the Saudi King Abdullah, may Allah rest his soul, before his death, to renovate and restore the Al-Azhar historical building as a Muslim, as Islamic monuments, and to restore and to restore some faculties and some residential building for international students as well as for national students. At the same time, the Grand Imam, or under the current of the Grand Imam, they build new entities, very important entities, to improve the community. The main target or the main goal behind such entities to improve the communication between Al-Azhar and the West. Such entities, one of these which is Al-Azhar Observatory and Electronic Fatwa and Al-Azhar Center for Translation. Al-Azhar Observatory considered to be an eye. All of them are working together to protect, as we said, that international society, as well as Egyptian society, of course, from the terrorist group and such, or extremists or sectarianism, as we say. They established the whole or the three entities. Al-Azhar Observatory considered to be an eye for Al-Azhar to know what's going around them through social media and through all kind of social media and internet. And then Electronic Fatwa tried to issue a fatwa to tackle such problems. On the other hand, or at the same time, Al-Azhar Center for Translation, they're working to translate any box which been considered or which been chosen by a prominent scholar from Al-Azhar to be translated into 13 languages and to spread the moderate message of Islam. One of these boxes, a lot of boxes have been translated, was for Al-Imam al-Tayyib or Al-Ghazali or for Atiyah Sakr. All of such boxes which has been translated in Al-Azhar Center for Translation, it is to tackle the problem which is Al-Azhar Observatory has been observed and the Electronic Fatwa has been issuing fatwa regarding. So all of them are working in one hand together in order to safeguard the international society or international Muslim community, at the same time to safeguard the Egyptian society from the extremist groups and all such group which has been imaged recently. So as for restorations, it has been it's been considered as the widest one since the Al-Azhar has been established, and they have been even established. And the Grand Imam said that there is Azhar new channel that's going to be in its way, inshallah.
Yes, hopefully we can see that very soon. Mr. Saeed Kishk Al-Azhary, the member of the Higher Council of Al-Azhar, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. And now we are moving to a quick break, so please stay tuned.